What is up, guys? It is Dewey from the Flock, and today I'm going to be doing something that I've never done before on the YouTube channel, but I decided if there ever was a time to do a flash news story that I couldn't stop myself from doing just because I'm so excited for it, now would be the time. So today, it's the day after we've got news about the Switch Lite, and I want to go over my joys and my cons of the system and what we've seen so far. So that is right. After about a year of speculation and many months of leaks and anticipation, we finally got the reveal of the Switch Lite. There's tons of different articles out right now that you can read. I might put this one in the description. Not that this one is any different from any others. This was just one of the few ones I saw, and I saw most of the ones I've been reading are from Kotaku and CNET. So if I don't put this in the description, just feel free to look up Switch Lite, because at this point it's already a day and a half past the point of when they first announced it. So now all the articles are just, ideas or people weighing in on stuff, not just like breaking the news. But we will be going over the specs and stuff like that, and like I said, I'm going to be giving my joys of the system and my cons of, or at least what I see in those. And as I'm going through this, if by the end of the video you see anything that you want to weigh on, and leave a comment below, I'd really appreciate that. I'd love to see what other people think about this system, if they're willing to pick it up, etc. And let's just jump right in to the comparison of the actual Switch. Now it does look like a lot of the leaked images. Yeah, specifically this image right here was one that was leaked a few months ago, and a lot of people actually denounced this and said it doesn't look anything like what they said it was like obviously a fake or whatever like that. But when you look at the actual system, I don't think they have any back shots of it here. But it is very similar. It is that same almost color. So it's funny in retrospect to look back and see what the leaks were, and if they were true or like actual leaks, or if it was just, someone just trying to get one over on everyone. So I'm just going to start off and just go straight through and start doing my cons. First thing we can see right here, handheld only mode. For some people, this will be a kind of whatever change. A lot of people I know only play in handheld. I think it is weird that they took the branding of the Switch and the whole thing behind it being that you can switch from playing on the TV to handheld and cut out one of those functions completely. It's not that big of a deal to me. I love playing it handheld. But a lot of people will see that as a con, and in a way I do too. I feel like they could have made it smaller and still had the availability to play it on the big screen, but for whatever reason they took it out, which is kind of a con to me. So something that might be a con, it's not for me, is that the handheld mode, obviously it's only in handheld mode, so you can't play some games, and you have to look at the box to see if it's compatible with handheld mode. But I mean, the only games I can think of off the top of my head are 1-2 Switch. No one wants to play that, I don't think, and if you do, I urge you not to and just pick up any other game. So that could be a con for some people. Another thing that's kind of in that realm of like not really a con, but I can see why some people would be upset, is they've taken out the IR sensor, which I think we can look right here, is this little guy right here. It's not used in a lot of games. I think it might be used for the motion sensor stuff, maybe, but it's only on one Joy-Con from what I can see, and I don't think it's used that much, other than there's an ability that you can use in Resident Evil to reload by like tapping on it or something like that, which is really cool, but it's like underutilized, so them taking it out is only just making space. Taking that out will only help shrink down and, like we see, make this Switch Lite. Another thing that I kind of see as a con is that, and a pro at the same time, but honestly a con, is that they've been able to squeeze a little bit more battery life out of these games on the Switch Mini. Obviously here it says 2.5 to 6.5, and now it's 3 to 7. I mean, 0.5 or 30 minutes more of gameplay is a little bit less than I think I would look for it in a Switch Lite. Like if they're going to, make it so it's on the go all the time, I would really like to have at least another, maybe an hour I'd be more happy with. But in a way, it's kind of a con to me that they weren't able to get more out of the battery life in this smaller form factor. I understand that they're probably using that same battery, or maybe a smaller one. So at the end of the day, it's actually pretty awesome, because I don't know until I open it up, but it might even be a smaller battery that they're able to squeeze more out of, because they've learned from the Switch Joy-Cons or whatever, or they've learned from the Switch in general how to get more power out of it after playing with the original Switch. And that is going to do it for Switch Lite cons. First pro is definitely going to be the D-pad. A lot of people were confused why the Switch didn't have it to begin with, and obviously it's because you want both of the controllers to be on an even playing field, be the same when you flip them over and give it to someone else to switch to turn it on its side and have its own thing going on. They were the ones who first had it on the NES controller. So for them to add this, obviously you don't need to take off the Joy-Cons, they're stuck on there. It is mainly for one person to play at a time, so I'm so happy to have this D-pad and not to have to go out and buy a third-party Hori D-pad or any other company that makes a separate Joy-Con for the D-pad. Another con is the HD Rumble being taken out. That is super unfortunate, because I mean, I could take or leave Rumble a lot of the time, but there's some games like Super Mario Odyssey where a lot of the puzzles themselves, you need the HD Rumble to figure out where the item is. So I don't know how Nintendo's changing up what they're doing, or trying to figure out a way to patch in like that out of the game, or just say like, oh well, just figure it out. But I think that's unfortunate, and I do really like the HD Rumble. Like, it actually renewed my love for Rumble and controllers, because I used to turn it off after playing competitive Melee. It's always just been like off whenever we play. So having the HD Rumble back on the Switch, it's almost made me be like, oh, Rumble's pretty cool. I'm gonna actually turn that on all my games now. Not Melee, but yeah, it's kind of a bummer that they're taking it out, especially when games really utilize it. So another one of my joys is that the Switch is obviously going to be smaller. This is important for me because I like to take my Switch on the go when I go on like trips and stuff. I'm in a band, so when I'm out and doing things, or on tour, I'd like to have my Switch with me. But it's just a little bit cumbersome. It's a little bit too big. Sometimes I almost think about taking my Vita instead, but having this even smaller, it makes it more form-packed, it makes it easier to carry, it makes it easier on the go. Obviously that's what they're going for with the Lite, so I'm really excited for that. Along with that, I think it's weird that they've kind of colored this bezel. I'd rather the screen just kind of stay the same size, but them shrinking the screen is actually kind of whatever, because at the end of the day, both of these screens are going to be running handheld in 720, but when you shrink the image in 720, it looks crisper. Some games on the original Switch look a little blurry, but I think them keeping the 720 in handheld but shrink the image will make a lot of games look a lot crisper, so I'm very excited about that. Another pro is obviously it's going to be smaller, which means it's going to be lighter, easier to carry, so I think that's pretty cool. And a huge pro is these colors. I love the different colored Joy-Cons and such like that, but like these colors look so tight. I'm so torn because I like a lot of things muted, so I kind of want this gray, but at the same time, this turquoise is one of my favorite colors, and this yellow is so bright to the point where I'm like, God, I'm really gonna have to buy each of these eventually, because I'm also a collector. So part of me is just like, well, there goes $600, $200 a pop. Let's go. I guess I'm gonna have to buy all of them. Also, when we're talking about colors, this Pokemon Switch for Sword and Shield is sick, and I cannot wait for more special Switch games consoles. I mean, they already have here a nice little mock-up of that. I think this is going to open up the gates to a lot of special edition Switches for specific games, just because it's going to be a little bit cheaper to make these. Obviously they're selling them at a cheaper price, so probably easier to produce them as well. And for my last pro, overall, I think it's going to broaden the install base. You take that $100 off of the system, it's going to allow families and people who are kind of on the fence about getting the Switch to jump in. And I think that's really awesome. It's going to allow more people to experience the Switch. It's going to allow me to talk about more people experiencing the Switch. And I'm planning on getting this and Link's Awakening the day it comes out. So very, very excited. Another thing that's in between a joy and a con, that we're just gonna have to wait and to see what happens with it, is how cloud saves and transfers are going to work. We do know that we can recover stuff from a Switch if we have it saved up in the back cloud, but there's some games, like specifically Animal Crossing that's coming out, that apparently will not have cloud backup. And this is a game that I would love to play at home on my TV and then be able to take on the go on my Switch Lite, but will I be able to do that? I believe there's an article somewhere, I'll try to find and link it, where Doug Bowser talks about how they're looking into that or they're working on that. But the way they do it and what games are compatible are up in the air so far. So I hope I hear more about that, because being able to transfer, put down my game, even if it's something that takes a few minutes, like uploading it to the cloud and then taking it on my other Switch, would be totally fine with me. Let's just hope that that's a reality and I don't have to have some games on one Switch and other games on another. So that's going to be it for this video. I appreciate you watching. Leave a like if you liked it. Leave a comment below also if you'd like to see us do more kind of news-centric videos. And also leave a comment, like I said, if you're going to get the Switch Lite, because I'm really wondering, are you someone who falls into the camp that's saying, oh, I already have a Switch, I don't need a Switch Lite, I'm good with this? Or are you someone like me who says, I got a Switch, but it would be nice to have a smaller one on the go that's only in handheld because I play in handheld a lot? Or, your joys and your cons. All that being said, I'm Dewey from the Flock. Thanks for flying with me.